Hello and welcome to Book Talks, where we talk about books, dramas, and our bookish opinions. Today we'll be discussing what we read in February. For more content from us, you can find us at Literary Liberation around the internet. I'm your co-host, Kristen. You can find me at TensDBR on all social media platforms.
And my name is Mariah, and you can find me at Hungry Rye on all social media platforms.
February, we're posting it a little late because I had the flu at the end of February, and I also had a cold at the beginning of February too. So February is just not my month. Mariah also had the flu at the beginning of the month too, didn't you?
Yeah,
Or it was like the end of January?
Yeah, end of January is when it really hit, but it lasted until almost Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and I'm still like in the tail end of the flu. I still have a cough and everything like that. So the mental capacity for reading in February for me was not there, because I only read 4 books in February, which is 43% less than the month of January. But I think also with having the flu, I literally had like 3 days straight where I had over 100-degree fevers. And I took medicine, and it would not even go below 100 degrees. So, and I still read on those days. I read 5 pages those days to make sure I kept my reading streak.
Streaks. We love that. I didn't read a whole lot in February either, compared to, I mean, obviously, it's going to sound like a lot, but a lot of it was One Piece. I read 11 books in February, which is a 40% decrease than January, so
we both decreased about the same.
Yeah.
In February. My average rating was 4 stars, though, in February, which is up 0.61 stars from the month before. So
my average rating was 4.61 stars, so it was up quite a lot. But I think, again, it's like One Piece. It's hard to rate those low because they're all bangers, so it kind of skews, I think, what the other books are. But I feel like in February, because we were both sick, I just wanted to read stuff I knew it was going to be good. So I prioritized those, but I don't know about you.
I mostly just read, half the books I read were for the podcast, so. But I read 1,658 pages last month, which is 17% less than January. So, which makes sense, but only 17% less pages versus being down 43% books. So I was still reading like the same amount of pages, if that makes sense. Just about.
Interesting.
And February is also a shorter month too.
Yeah, we lose like 3 days, 3 or 4 days. 3 days, right? Because then leap years have 29 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yes. Well, it depends, because some of the months only have 30 days and some months only have 31 days. So it depends on if you're comparing it to a 31-day month or a 30-day month. Because then it can only be 2 days, or it could be 3 days.
However you look at it, you know?
Yeah.
I read 3,121 pages. That almost was 1,312. Love that.
What?
Because it's 3121.
Like I know, but that's like over 1,000 page difference.
You know, I'm just saying, if you flip the numbers. But anyways, I went down 25% for the month of February.
And
not the end of the world, but you read a little bit less pages per day, or finished a book in less days.
My average time to finish a book was 8 days, which is 2 days faster than January. Which January was 10 days was my average to finish a book, versus it was only 8 days. Which I think, because in February, I think I had in January I had a few skewed books, because I had like 2 books that took me over 2 weeks to read, versus all of these books, I think they took me all about a week to read. So I read about a book a week in February, which is still pretty good. I'm not disappointed in it. I'm only 1 book behind my goal right now.
You'll catch up. Yeah. I know you are.
I probably will.
I read about the same. For the longest time, I couldn't figure it out how they calculated it, because it says it takes me 8 days to finish a book, but then people will see, oh, you finished this many books in a month, like the math isn't mathing, but it's like the time you start the book to the time you finish it, and an average is that. So I'm reading so many books at the same time that it ends up being like it takes me about a week to finish a book, but then I'm also reading like 4 or 5 books at the same time. It just depends on what the vibe is.
Because, like, again, like, for me, too, it depends. Like, some books I can read in a day or two, depending on the book, you know? Like, Operation Bounce House, I think I read that in less than a week. Spoilers for what I'll be talking about. But then some other books, like, I know, like, another book that I read, it took me, like, over 2 weeks to read it. So it's just gonna end up averaging out between all of the books you read. It's not just, you know, depending on what you read,
Yeah.
depending on the subject matter, that impacts how fast I'm reading a book and how fast paced it is. Like, slow paced books, I'm not flying through, obviously, you know?
I feel you.
But the first book I read in February, well, the first book I finished, and I think technically I started in January, was The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is, if you don't know what that's about, we're following Bilbo Baggins and the dwarves, like a group of 12 dwarfs, on their journey to go fight Smaug because he stole their riches and their land. And you're just following the journey to there, pretty much. I mean, the subtitle is like An Unexpected Journey. And I thought it was cute. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's just a cute little simple read. It's always described as like a fairy tale in ways. I thought it was cute. I listened to the audiobook with it. I tandem read it. And the audiobook was really good because, like, the guy that did it, it wasn't Andy Serkis. It was some other guy. But he, like, did, he was, like, singing the songs and stuff. So it was really cute in that way. And I just thought it was a cute read. You know? I don't really
It is.
have that much
I
to
love
say
The
about
Hobbit.
it.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about it when you read it. Like, the first time I read it was when I had COVID years ago. Because I had, like, seen the movie and stuff. Like, I knew all, like, the Lord of the Rings. But I hadn't actually read the book. And I read it and I was like, this is so, like, enchanting and lovely. Like, obviously, I have, like, 2.5 shelves dedicated to this shit. Like, I like it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's cute. I don't necessarily think, like, it's, like, the peak of literature, you know? That's why I didn't, like, give it, like, 6 stars or anything. But I thought it was a cute little read. I liked all the dwarves' characterizations and stuff. Like, it's fun, but it's not, like, anything crazy. It does feel a little, like, oldie, you know? It's a boomer.
Yeah.
You know? But it's, like, cute.
All right, let's see. For completely different change of, like, pace from what you were reading, I read Hunchback by, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, I should have looked this up, Ichikawa. I got the free library card from the Japanese Foundation here in the US, so I have a bunch of books that have been translated that I'm going to be reading over, like, the next couple of months because they're free. You can't go wrong with that. Anyways, this book is about this disabled woman, like, living in this, like, group home, and I don't want to, like, get too into the spoilers, but, like, she knows she can't carry a baby to term. She's very sick, but she knows that she could logically get pregnant and have an abortion. So she's, like, dead set on, like, getting pregnant so she can have an abortion. And she's got, like, this weird stuff, like, she's got, like, personalities online she operates as. I don't know. It's really interesting. She's, like, a writer and going to school. The author is disabled too. It's really interesting exploration of disability and sexuality. I give it 4 stars. I've never read anything quite like it, and I loved it. But it still is, like, it should be, I think this could have been, like, a full-length novel. It's very short.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was on my TBR because I saw whenever you were reading it, but I don't remember why I added it to my TBR. You know? It was just, like, one of those that, like, I guess I saw a TikTok about it and I added it to my TBR and then, like, promptly forgot about it.
It was interesting.
That's interesting, yeah. The next book I read, Mariah also read, but Mariah read it in January. I read it in February because we recorded the podcast episode in February, was Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy, which is about Waldo, who is being groomed by her English teacher. And then it discusses, like, class and hyperconsumerism through, like, a Gen Z perspective. It's basically like Gen Z, My Dark Vanessa, which we talked about this novel at length over on a different podcast episode, which will be linked below. So I won't go super in depth into my opinion, but I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it's well worth the read. And there is a little bit difference with My Dark Vanessa, but again, we literally discuss everything about this novel in another podcast episode. So I'm going to send you to the podcast episode if you want to hear mine and Mariah's full nuanced opinions. No spoilers for the episode.
My next one, I'll probably end up like talking about 2 or 3 of the ones just because Kristen doesn't have a whole lot left to talk about. I finished Kindred, which was our February book club read by Octavia E. Butler, and this is like a sci-fi historical fiction novel about a woman who goes back to antebellum South to be with this relative that she has that she doesn't know about, and she just keeps randomly getting teleported back in time, and it's just a really interesting novel. I think you should go into it as blind as possible. I give it a 4.75 star. It's really lovely. The review just went up because we were a little bit behind. So if you want to check out both of our thoughts on that, we have both read it, but Kristen probably won't be talking about it, like personal thoughts outside of the podcast until next month's wrap up.
Yeah, because I technically finished it on the 1st, so
I don't close.
I know. Well, because like I could have finished it, but then I was like, well, we're recording it on the 1st, so I'm gonna finish it on the 1st. And I like, even though I read most of it in February, it doesn't count as a February read. You know?
Yeah, by the prince. At least we're principled about it.
Yeah.
Next on my list was Health Communism, a Surplus Manifesto. This is written by 2 different authors, and it's about life and death under capitalism and how exploitation like permeates every aspect of our existence. This is a very thorough analysis of like long-term care, mental health care, the history, and how it's kind of like intertwined with white supremacy, settler colonialism. It's just like how this like construction and maintenance of the for-profit healthcare system is essential for our subjugation. It's a very nuanced novel despite it saying manifesto, and it is relatively short. I was very surprised. I think it's less than 200 pages. It is jam-packed. I learned like 90% of it was stuff I didn't know, and it gave me a lot of new avenues to explore. Would recommend it.
I feel like the cover is so iconic. Like, I feel like you're always taking photos of that book too. And you just read it.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I don't know what it is. It's so simple.
Yeah.
But it's
sideways. Like sideways. Yeah. It's a really unique cover.
It's pretty, and it's not like the hardback is one piece. It's not, there's no dust cover. It's just
it's just like
unit.
Directly printed on the hardback.
I wish they all were like that. If I'm gonna be honest,
I hate
a dust cover. Oh,
I hate dust jackets. That's why half of my books on my shelf behind me, their dust jackets are gone from this life. The next book I read in February was Operation Bounce House by Matt Denneman, which is, if you don't know what it's about, you follow Oliver. It's a farmer whose planet is being taken over by an Earth corporation to profit off the land and to take like their resources and everything. And then Oliver and his friends must protect their homeland. It's literally like, we talked about it, it's like Ender's Game, but it's about Palestine. It's very clearly representing the colonization and the genocide going on in Palestine right now through Matt Denneman putting it into like a lit RPG perspective. It's really good. Me and Mariah, again, both enjoyed it. We do have our full nuanced discussion and opinions over on the podcast because we did already review this for the podcast. Me and Mariah both rated it 4.5 stars. We loved it. Mariah also read this in February too, so this technically counts as a Mariah read as well. But we both very much enjoyed this, and our full review is out already in the world, and we highly recommend the book and the podcast because I think we had a really great discussion about it.
It was a good book, and YouTube is suppressing the views, and I think it's because of the politics of the, like, in the episode what we talked about. That's the only way I can justify it, because I think it's so strange because this is such an anticipated read, and like nobody has seen it. But we talked about some things that on TikTok it would get the video taken down, so add a little intrigue. You can go check. I liked it though.
It's a woke book. Glory to wokeness.
It's woke 3, not even woke 2.
Yeah, it's really good. Matt Denneman, we love you. Give us an arc for your next books. Thank you.
What did I read? Oh, I read Midsummer Moon by Laura Kinsale. I have gotten into the depths of these 1980s, 1970s. They're Avon publication, mass market paperback historical romance novels. And Laura Kinsale is a house name that I had seen. I picked up this one. It wasn't the one that was recommended. I think it's it's like Seize the Fire. This one that always people talk about. I don't know. I found this at my local used bookstore. I got it for $1. Anyways, it's set during like the Napoleon era war, and this duke has to find this inventor that the French really want. Like they're like they need the technology that this inventor has because it's going to change the way that war functions. And he goes to find Merlin. Come to find out, Merlin is kind of pretending to be her uncle that adopted her. She kind of just lives by herself, and she's got like a couple guys that like work for her that she knows, but she's very autistic coded. I really liked it. I think this is what romance should be about, and I am gonna try really hard not to burn through all of her books because she only has 14 books out ever.
Yeah,
period. There's nothing else.
Is she dead?
I think so. I don't know. I don't want to know because I think it's going to hurt, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm going to be reading a lot more of these. I picked up a couple when I was out this week. So stay tuned. I'm sure you'll be seeing those. And then the last nonfiction book, I didn't read a whole lot of nonfiction. I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I kind of just been, I don't know, sitting with things. And February was weird, so I just wanted to read what fit the mood. I read Loaded, A Disarming History of the Second Amendment by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyways, this is a history of the Second Amendment and its intentions, how it came to be, part of the Bill of Rights, some of the misconceptions surrounding it. Like, I didn't know, for example, that the reason that like the Tea Party was happening, right? People always talk about that, like we needed the guns for the American Revolution. One of the reasons is that the king in England was like, hey, you guys are expanding way too far into indigenous land. And the white settlers were like, I'm dumping your tea out. There's just a lot of stuff. Literally, like, there's just a lot. It just shows, like, the interconnected nature of, like, white supremacy, settler colonialism, and capitalism. It's very solid. Unfortunately, I knew a lot of this, but I think it'd be a good point for some people. So, if you're somebody that is looking for a history of the Second Amendment, I think like liberals would benefit from reading this, but even I think some moderate Republicans might also like it. I don't know. It's at least having the points somewhere where you can have discussions about it, I think is important. Mm-hmm. Especially like the conversation that is held in here about the NRA and how it works with like the oil companies and how that like ties into the military industrial complex, I think is really interesting.
Well, the next book that I read was Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Sadwari. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. My bad if not. But basically, as we know, as like people in the world, this follows Iraq, and they're meticulously bombed. They have a lot of like, according to this book, there's a lot of like suicide bombers and like attacks that just happen because of the way that America is involved, and the people there obviously don't want to be under American rule and stuff like that. And you kind of follow like a cast of different characters. There's like a journalist, there's like a guy that just like sells furniture, there's an old woman whose son got like basically drafted into the war and he's been missing for years, and you're kind of following all of these different characters and how they're victims of like American imperialism, but then also this man that like he ends up like going to different, like there's different sites where there's like suicide bombings and stuff like that, and the government kind of doesn't do anything about like the victims of that. They're just kind of like, well, they died. So this guy has been collecting like different pieces of the victims and then ends up making like a whole new victim, which is like the Frankenstein aspect, and they just call him what's his name. And it's basically just like he ends up becoming like a vigilante sort of like criminal to like have like, I don't know, revenge on the people that cause harm. And I think some aspects of this book are done well and some aren't. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, I think the premise sounds really interesting, but it is really, really slow paced and it's super character focused and not a strong plot in my opinion. So that's already not my favorite in a novel. And I think because this is a translated novel, I don't know if it's like a translation exactly or because of like how like books in like Iraq are written, because obviously their culture is different than us. The way that their characters like spoke to each other, it didn't feel very natural to me. Like, it didn't feel like I mean, obviously, I mean, having like an American centric, like a Western centric mind. So like the way our novels are written and the way the characters act, the motivations are like a little bit more, like I guess explained or like thought out. While this just felt like a book that was really like telling you what happens instead of like showing you like how things are. It's very like bang bang bang. Like the points are just like boom boom boom. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very, I don't know. It was a very uniquely written novel. It's not something I've ever read before, and I want to try to obviously read more diversely. I'm trying to read more translated novels this year, and I think I have some like basic like knowledge of like Iraq's history and stuff like that. But I think if you had like a more well-rounded like knowledge about like specifically what has happened there, and like with U.S. imperialism and stuff like that, it could maybe you could extract more from it. But I just feel like if you don't have like, I think especially too if you're somebody that doesn't know anything about like US intervention there and stuff like that, that this book could mean absolutely nothing to you, because it almost like, to me, it like kind of demonized a lot of citizens there rather than like explaining the nuance to like why people are choosing to be violent, or like not choosing but like why the situation arises for people to enact violence, you know? And I think in some aspects it tries to do that with like the character, what's his name, but like for a book being called Frankenstein of Baghdad, like what's his name is like the most minor of characters. There's only like one chapter that really focuses on him as much, and I wish like he had more of a characterization than like some of the other side characters that I just didn't think their story was necessarily relevant to the overall discussion, you know? But I do like,
Interesting.
I mean, I would love for more Marxists. I don't know of any like Marxists specifically that have read it, and I think it'd be great for more Marxists to read. I do think it's got a lot of like areas where it can be discussed, but it just, I don't know. For me, it personally fell flat. I gave it 3 stars, so it wasn't like horrible. Because again, I do think some of the aspects are there, but I just don't know. It could have been the translation issue as well, you know, because that's unfortunately what can happen whenever certain people translate certain novels.
I've had that on my, I was gonna say For You page, on my TBR for a while. So I'm curious.
I mean, I
I'm
think you should
curious.
read it and we could definitely discuss it.
Okay. And last
You
on
might be
my
better
list,
because you have more of a history knowledge and background.
maybe. I'm curious.
I
I
don't know
look
how
into
much
the
about
author and see if they were born in the diaspora or if they like moved.
I didn't
like,
do any research on the author at all whenever I read it. I just like, okay. Because it's like Storygraph. I'm doing like the Storygraph Read Around the World Challenge. This is like one of the most popular books on it. That's why I picked it. Because like,
Interesting.
yeah.
The plot thickens. Anytime there's something that's really, really popular, though, sometimes I wonder if it's popular. And I'm not attributing this to the author because I don't know, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like liberals.
That's what I don't know though. Like, that's just my kind of vibe from it, where I wish, I don't know. Like, I do think, like, I mean, me and Mariah can read it, and then we can have a whole like podcast episode about it if people are interested in that.
Yeah,
too. I don't know.
you should read Perfect Victims first before we film it, and then I'll read the other one because I think.
And it was just really slow paced too. Like, it was just really, really slow. Like, that was one of the books that like it took me like over 2 weeks to read. I think it was just like, it is really heavy too. It's sad, like obviously, you know, because of like what's going on, and like I just feel like I hate America so much, you know. And this was before like we already bombed Iran too, so then I was just like, after reading this and then that happens, and I'm just like, somebody needs to do something.
Last on my list though was One Piece. I finished the whole Alabasta arc. It was really good. We got revolutionaries. There's like court politics. There's like everything you could ever want. There's hot mamacitas in it. And the plot within One Piece is building quite beautifully. I don't know if Kristen will ever get around to watching it or
definitely not watching
One Piece.
Definitely not watching it. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I really like One Piece. It's like the nice happy filter that I'm like or not filter. I don't even know what
Filler?
like it's like filler. It's like the good filler I have, but it's when I need something. I'm reading a lot more like heavier books. There's not a lot of alien romance. One Piece is kind of fulfilling that optimism, and the politics of it are pretty good.
Have you caught up? I know you were behind last month. Are you still behind?
I think I'm only one, or maybe I'm caught up. But I downloaded a couple, so it's not terrible. I'll get there. Okay. I'm not too worried. But yeah, that's it. That's all I read in the month of February.
All we read.
I didn't DNF anything
in
February.
I did, because I started Wuthering Heights. I think I started it in February too, and I got 13% in, and I was like, low-key, I actually don't care about Heathcliff and Catherine. Like, I was only reading it to watch the movie, and like, I knew people didn't like the movie, and I was gonna see it anyways, but then I ended up getting sick with the flu, so I was like, well, I guess I can't go see the movie now, and so we didn't go see the movie. I didn't like the writing style. I'm sure everyone always says, like, oh, there's so much to discuss with, like, class and nuance and stuff like that, which I'm sure there is, but it's also, like, really boring.
As is, most classics are pretty slow and, like, boring. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I did not get around to starting it last month with, like, getting sick and whatnot. I was just, hopefully, if you hear any noises, I have my 6-year-old, and he sees that we're talking about books, so he brought his books to review. He read Creepy Crayon, Creepy Carrot, and Creepy Parrot Underwear, like, 30 times each. Everything's creepy. We can get into what we're currently reading, though, and what you might see a review of in our wrap-up and on the podcast.
I am currently rereading Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It was one of my favorite novels of last year. And this year, the movie is coming out later this month. We're going to be posting a review on Literary Liberation for this book. I really enjoyed this, so obviously, I already know what happens, like, all throughout. But basically, if you don't know anything about it, it's about some dude that wakes up on a spaceship in the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't know why he's there or, like, what's going on. And if you don't, like, if you want to know more about Project Hail Mary, literally don't. Just read it. Like, it's literally just, trust me, bro, pick it up, read it. You don't need to know anything about it. It's goated. I'm listening to the audiobook narrated by Ray Porter, and I think he actually does a really good job. He's no Jeff Hayes, like, it's no Dungeon Crawler Carl, but I do think it is really nicely read. He does a good job of doing individual voices for each character, and a character that is, I don't want to spoil it, but, like, a lot of the characters are really well voiced, and I think it is a very good audiobook. I know everybody online is always raving about the audiobook. I don't know if Mariah, Mariah's reading Project Hail Mary right now too. Are you listening to the audiobook at all?
Yeah, I'm doing the immersive reading because people swear by it, and it's good, but I think you could get the same experience with just reading it, honestly. It's a good audiobook.
What I did. Yeah,
but it's not changing my brain waves or anything, and I have about 75 pages left of that, so I'm currently reading this as well.
Our full nuanced review will be later this month. I think, will it be next post, I guess? Next week? I think so.
I think that's right. That sounds good. That sounds right to me. And that's it. That's all you're reading right now, right? You're just doing a reread?
Yes. I think I'm going to start Murderbot number 3 here soon, too. I'm in sci-fi mood.
I'm also reading No Longer Human. This is a Japanese classic that's been on my list forever. I think this is something Kristen and I could talk about because Marxism is a important theme in this.
Love
explicitly. And then I'm also reading Daggerwolf, Daggermouth, which is the dystopian romance book. Apparently there's some controversy surrounding it, so keep an eye out for that. And then Enemy Feminisms. It's called TERFs, Policewomen, and the Girl Bosses Against Liberation. It's Women's History Month, so what's better than learning about the enemies of liberation and women's liberation? Hey, you know what? All things considering, this could have gone a lot worse. It's been a really
Yeah.
rough couple of weeks and months, and I didn't know what was going on today. The fence is getting fixed. Luckily, it sounded like he's not piling it because the.
Other than that, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Mariah's child, if you're watching this episode, is here, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below if any of these books that we read sound interesting to you and you want us to do a full episode, and we haven't done a full episode. Thank God Mariah's mic is muted because her kid is trying to, I think Mariah's trying to get replaced. Other than that, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you, and good night.